what do you guys think about the basement? Do you think anything went down in the basement that we don't know about?
Well, the dog hit down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And alerted.
Sure.
So I feel those dogs are highly trained. And I don't think it was a coincidence, but I don't know. I remember him saying, I may have gone downstairs to get the garbage bags, but he doesn't seem too sure about that. What do you think, RC?
Yeah, I could totally see something happening down in the basement. I could see Shanann getting lured there and then having an act performed on her, an assault.
Ooh, an assault in the basement. Sorry, my
I think
hair's
so.
falling down.
No, you're fine.
Especially, especially to avoid waking the children at that time, and since he had been sleeping down in the basement a lot, apparently, according to him, prior to that, I wouldn't doubt it for a minute.
Yeah, let's kind of get into that about how Nicole, during her interview, we won't even call it an interrogation because it's not, she spoke a lot about he would talk to me down in the basement, or it sounded like she thought he was originally talking from the basement on the 13th when he was FaceTiming with her. And she's like, well, I noticed the sheets were off the bed, and I thought that was really weird because he's such a clean person. But I feel like I never get a clear picture of this bed downstairs. And supposedly the parents stayed down there, right? When they lived there.
Yes. So we have the bed downstairs. I did a pre-live where when I was doing my research for tonight's show, I was on live just talking to people, and we were looking at things that I wanted to look at tonight. So I want to look at first, I wanted to look at the basement itself,
but her phone did ping.
I wanted the layout of it so that we could see what was going on down in the basement.
I kind of think that NK.
So this is Michelle after dark, and this is her. I will put the links to everything that we view tonight down in the YouTube show notes. We do this for fair play use and to cite our sources. I'll stop and start things a lot. So yeah.
She's clever. She's immature, but she's clever.
So in this, she's talking about NK and how she concedes that it's possible that NK was involved in it, but she feels that NK was very clever and that NK was not down in the basement that day because she wouldn't get her hands dirty. That's what she's saying.
She wanted.
I'm interested in our chat how many people think she's involved. You guys feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.
If you think NK was involved in this and was down in the basement, put a 1. If you don't think she was involved, put a 2. If you're not sure, if you think she was somehow involved but you're not really sure, put a 3.
Out of the picture. I don't think she'd have got her own hands dirty. Now, in the Wisconsin confession, Tammy Lee asked Chris what was going on in the basement in the morning.
So, and there's a lot of talk about how Tammy Lee in that final interview when they went out to Wisconsin, she asked like what went on in the basement, and Chris was like really shocked about like, what do you mean what went on in the basement? And then he was like, oh well, maybe I got some garbage bags down there. I just don't remember. But then when Cheryl and Cadel started interviewing him, there's in one of the letters he made sure to mention the basement, and he also asked during the interview to Tammy Lee, did the dogs hit by the freezer that is underneath the steps in the basement. And that's interesting.
Oh,
too.
yes. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's kind of a theory that he used that freezer.
And that's why I was really
the kicker
excited
for me.
that's why I was really excited to have Kelly on tonight, because I didn't even get the video up because I thought she was going to be here. She has a really good video on the basement. But I thought we're going to have her here.
Yeah, I texted her just to see where she is. The kicker for me, you guys, and last night I was kind of re-listening to some of Chris's second confession, and he talks a lot about wrapping Shanann up in the garbage bags, and he was like, I didn't want them to see their mom. And I'm just like, it's just so weird how you can go from having this compassion to doing what you did. None of it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, he thought to go downstairs and get garbage bags so that they didn't have to see their mom. But then you took them out the way you did. I just can't figure it out. And he keeps saying, none of it makes sense. I don't know why. I know you guys keep asking me this, but I don't have answers for you because I don't even know why I did what I did. And it's so frustrating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, also, sorry, go ahead, Cowboy.
Was he on something and doesn't remember, or was he not alone in that and doesn't know? That's what I always wonder.
Well, and there was this huge, I noticed there was this huge discussion too. She had this huge bin downstairs full of medications. And in one, the person saying that there was no Oxycodent. This is the Michelle After Dark. She shows, this is the bin that's down there. And she says that there's albuterol for the girls and a nebulizer. And that the Oxycodent wasn't down there. But then if I pop over here to True Rocket Scientist, he's sure that this bottle right here is Oxycodone, which I don't know how he could possibly even be sure of it, because I don't even see, like, I see this triangle here, but
you see the bottle. And what's interesting, usually when you get your scripts filled, they put it in the orange bottle, right? And this is like straight from the pharmacy, which sometimes they do slap a label on there and give you the full container. They do sometimes.
I have gotten them in those containers.
It makes me think this is getting it more from a medical facility.
Yeah, it looks like a hospital pharmacy type bottle to me.
Right. I mean, it's really not that common for them to use the whole spiel. And the reason is they always like to count them out and save themselves, so they don't get in trouble. Even though the container says there's 80 and it hasn't been open. I used to be a pharmacy tech too, so I kind of know. Sometimes I'd be like, why are we opening this? And it's because it's a narcotic and they just want to count them out and be safe so they don't get sued if anything happens. I don't see the little container though, like you said, Amy. But I would also think it would be in a prescription bottle, like, from Walgreens.
But none of those are, nothing in there is in let me go back to this one.
The albuterol stuff looks like samples I used to get from doctors' offices for my asthma.
Now that's interesting, RC, because you've all probably heard the theories where people don't think the girls really had allergies, and people were saying she bought supplies from friends. One of the shots, I'm blanking on what it's called, was expired.
The EpiPen?
Yes, the EpiPen was expired, but she still had it. I'm curious what everyone's thoughts on that
She's got
are
a
as
lot of
well.
stuff, though. She's got a lot of stuff. How could she possibly know if something was expired? There's so much down there. I mean,
Right.
that's a lot.
Well,
Yeah,
like
that's
you
crazy.
used to think maybe the girls didn't have allergies, but then I saw there were, when Cece went, they showed her back and it was reacting to whatever testing they were doing. And I'm like, okay, like that's pretty hard to fake, right? So I'm like, okay, well, maybe at least Cece has some allergies going on. Does Bella? I don't know. Medical records are sealed. We're never going to know, never going to see. But I mean, like, is that box totally
I mean,
medical
there's
supplies?
boxes up here too. It's not just this. There's like, it's a lot.
That's crazy. I don't think I've had that many asthma meds in the 30 years I've had asthma.
Well, and it's just Cece that had the asthma.
Yeah, that's
Not like
that's
it's a whole
wild.
family that has it.
I'm surprised it's in the basement, but I wonder with the humidity in Colorado or like what the temps are. I'm just surprised because Shannon was so meticulous and organized that I would feel like this would be the kind of stuff she would keep upstairs in the bathroom or in the kitchen cabinet. So
It looks like
I'm
she's
wondering
keeping her toiletries here, though. It looks like, so maybe she
Wow.
just keeps them with the toiletries.
And probably out of reach if the children didn't go in the basement. You won't have humidity problems there. It's really dry.
Yeah, that's why I was like, maybe that's why she has it down there. Lauren asks, do the meds expire? Yeah, they do. I mean, meds can expire. All it means is they're like less potent, but they're still going to work.
And the whole point too of this video was she was showing upstairs. There was the red suitcases, and then all of a sudden the red suitcases appeared down in the basement.
Really?
Yeah. That's strange.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, here are the red. These were upstairs the day that they were searching for not Nicole. When Nicole was in the house and they were searching for Shanann, these were upstairs and now they're downstairs.
So he moved them downstairs.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
During his cleaning binge.
Like, what?
That's crazy.
It's really
I'm
crazy.
surprised the investigators didn't ask him that. Like, why did you take the time to, I don't know. I mean, I would keep it there probably forever. I don't think I would ever move it. If it was the last thing my wife or my husband touched before I saw them again, you know, you just wouldn't want to touch anything. You leave it just as it is. Okay, now I see the Oxycodent
There, I
bottle.
see it again. I see it again.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to touch it because of an active investigation.
Yeah.
There it is, right there.
Yep. Interesting.
We don't know it's Oxycodent, though. We don't even know what it is. It's just a bottle.
It almost looks
It's
round.
a square bottle. It could be anything.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I highly doubt she would put Oxycodone in a box like that without a cover on it. Because what if the kids pulled the box down and got into it? They could have an overdose. I mean, I have a safe for my medication. So, I mean, I imagine Shanann was similar to making sure those kids didn't get into anything they weren't supposed to be getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as they were worried about them getting in Vaseline in the bathroom, as Chris stated, I doubt that they would have medications accessible.
Right. So the other thing that was interesting that Chris did in the basement was he decided to take this weird photo of the refrigerator. Do you guys remember this photo? He opened up the refrigerator and took a picture of it. I think it was the day he was grilling the chicken on the barbecue.
Yeah, I thought that he had taken a picture of a thermometer in there as well.
Yeah.
referencing the temp, and I thought that was really strange.
I don't know.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Where did it go?
It was like he sent a picture of the operating temperature to somebody for their approval for whatever.
Yeah, like to show them what the temperature was inside the refrigerator. Like, why did you, in the freezer, why did you need to know that?
Yeah, who are you trying to
All
prove
things.
that to?
And so here also another strange thing in the basement. There was something that was found underneath the bed, and people were very curious about what was underneath the bed. And this Michelle After Dark went in and showed that it was just, oh, I had it muted because of the music. They said there was a vial underneath the bed. And so she's saying that it's actually not a vial, because people were trying to insinuate that it was either steroids or what, injecting the oxycodone. I don't know. But she's saying that it was just a bracket underneath the bed, that it really wasn't anything like that. And so
Isn't it insane how far we like dig and look into things? Like every inch of footage that has been released, it's been combed over.
And here is the fitness equipment, and this is a closer look at the bed in the basement. So over here,
to find that freezer picture.
Right here is the bed is over here on, like, if we were to go further, it's over here to the, if you're looking at the Mickey Mouse or the Minnie Mouse, it's to the right of it, but our left, it's right. And so what do you think about the fitness equipment down here, Cowboy? Do you think he was actually using it?
I think so. It's not extensive, but it's enough to get a decent workout in it. So it appears.
Here's the bed. I do have a video that we're going to look at, like the weights. They went into what weights he was lifting. Because the argument was there was no way he would have been able to carry Shanann down the stairs, although he did say that he carried her, dragged her. But with lifting the weights that he was lifting, was he that strong? So here's the bed. Did you say you wanted a good look at the bed, Jen? I forget who said that.
Yeah, I feel like every time I visualize the basement, I never see that bed.
I never remembered in doing the research tonight. I didn't remember them having that garbage bag up there or whatever that is. But here's the bed, and it was unmade, and they found a wasp underneath it or on it, and that purple mask was down there too, sleeping mask.
Mm-hmm.
It was much messier than I thought it was. And
I'm still seeing under the bed.
Oh, you're still. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong thing. Sorry.
There you go.
This is the bed. Sorry, you didn't even see the equipment then, because I was looking at.
No, I did see it. I did see it with
just in passing. Yeah.
Oh, well, I was looking at the equipment when I said it. Sorry, guys.
So the bed is made?
No, it's not made.
Oh, okay. It kind of looks like there's some blue.
There is. That's the sheets. See how
the
blankies are all tasseled.
Yeah.
Nice curtains, dickhead.
Right. I mean, like, you can't even.
See, there it's all unmade.
It's
right
like a
there.
college
And there's
apartment down there.
Yeah. And there's the her mask probably. I don't imagine he slept with a mask on.
Doubt it.
I don't
There.
know. Maybe he did though, because they didn't put blinds up. I don't.
Maybe with that
Or maybe
janky
like
ass curtain.
The dickhead curtain.
Yep.
And then we know there's a window down there that didn't have a screen on it. So
Right.
I don't know, but he was barely sleeping. He was saying he was only sleeping 3 hours. I don't imagine him dragging his ass down into the basement and putting on a purple sleep mask and sleeping. I just don't see it.
I don't believe he slept very much.
Well, he said he
during
did.
any of this time. And I'm always thinking too, like this time of year, I bet Chris lives his life by like the summer months. You know, like, okay, it's June 18th.
Like a night sleep.
Okay, remember he said he started kind of talking to Nicole Kessinger a little more deeply around Father's Day. So like all of these memories probably flow back to him over the summer. I was thinking about that.
See, the sheet's like a blue sheet, and this is the comforter's like a light blue.
That's pretty messy. Yeah.
So that would mean something like Shanann was just coming home, so someone was sleeping down there.
Yeah.
She was
That's what
on
I would
vacation.
make out of it.
So I think that she was staying at the house when Shanann was gone.
So. I would think so. Yeah. Especially with the construction site behind them.
Maybe, was she over their house more than just on the 4th of July? But wasn't there some theory about her wearing Shanann's robe or something at one point? Took a picture and it was Shanann's robe.
Yeah, I think I had heard that or seen that somewhere.
Oh, I'm like trying to remember what it was.
I've literally never heard that.
But I would think Chris would be so disrespectful that he would like have her sleep upstairs in their bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think he would. I think he would. I think it's her that wouldn't do it. Like her weirdness.
Yeah, like it creeped her out or something.
See what the chat is saying. Bean Baby says, doubt Kessinger slept with it either. Who do you think was sleeping with it? The mask? Is that what you're talking? That's what I think you're talking about. Who do you think they're sleeping with?
I do remember Kessinger saying like she'd always want to sleep and Chris would never sleep. And she said it got to a point where she was like, look, if like you can't chill and do something like while I sleep, then you can't stay over here anymore, because she was like saying it was getting to the point where it was kind of uncomfortable because she'd be like winding it down around 10 o'clock, wanting to go to bed because she worked in the morning, but he was just like amped.
Yeah, then she'd be dragging the next day. She said she'd have to take a nap when she got off because she wasn't sleeping enough at night.
And she said if I didn't have those naps, I wouldn't have made it.
She said he would fall asleep in the mid-sentence and then wake back up and pick up where he left off too.
Yeah. It's all those stimulants from the silly stickers and the pills.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Dieter was locked up for hours on end, which is terrible. I would think that Kessinger would have more of a heart and be like, hey, just bring Dieter over to the house. I have a dog too. They can play together. We can take him to the dog park. But no, you know, I think that he got off work, let Dieter out for 10 minutes, and then went over to Nicole's every night.
Yeah.
Well, he probably had some sort of lies cooked up. Like he probably said someone came out and walked the dog, or who knows what he was saying.
Oh yeah.
To her, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be apt to say anything.
Right. Okay, so now let's go over and look at the fitness equipment.
Steelers.
So here we have the fitness equipment.
But he also had a gym membership, supposedly.
Well, okay, let's jump over to that then. We have, let's talk about the gym, and then I do have a video I found where I found a Rose video where she is showing the proof that NK and Chris met at the gym. So in looking at the fitness equipment, do you think this was, oh, I got lost. Hold on a second. Oh, I got lost. Hold on. I've got a lot of stuff up. Do you think it was doable for him to use because I guess he went from 100 or 245 pounds to 180 pounds. Was that sufficient for him to lose all that weight? And
yeah, the key there would be all the running
and
they said he did.
And get to the truth. It's unlikely.
Sorry.
But she didn't like him running. So he said he'd have to get up extra early, go downstairs to work out, and get up because she didn't want him running because it interfered with their time alone.
Yeah, but yeah, running and watching his diet would be the key.
Yeah, food is everything.
Yeah, I competed in bodybuilding for years, and I never got it dialed in until I got my nutrition dialed in. Working out's the easy part.
Well, and in his fitness equipment, she goes in and she gets some close-ups of it. Do I have it on slow motion or something, or does she have it on slow? Yeah, she gets some, and she talks about the weights that like she really goes into it.
So this is just from Amazon.
Sure did.
And these are weights that you put on a barbell in pounds. So as you can see, you know, these are the same size, but they're different thicknesses. If Chris was bench pressing and he worked out every day, if he was bench pressing his shoulder muscles, even if he wasn't lifting particularly heavy weights, you know, he wasn't a power lifter, even if he was only, you know, toning and he wasn't bulking, he was using the weights to lose weight, to tone his body. He's probably lifting lighter weights more often. So lighter weights with more repetitions. So although from that angle, from that picture, I can't tell the exact weight of each of those weights. If they were 20 kilogram weights, then he's lifting 90 pounds per repetition. If they were 25 kilogram weights,
does it look like a 90 pounder?
That's a 45 on each side, and you factor in the bar weight. You always figure 90. Yeah, that's 90.
Then he's lifting over 100 pounds per repetition, working out every day.
Actually, that's 135 with an Olympic bar.
Very strong.
They weigh 45.
It's 145.
Be 135. Wow. Yeah.
Cool. It doesn't look very much there. It doesn't look very much muscle there. He probably had a very strong core and strong shoulders. And that's exactly what you need to be able to pick up a dead weight, you know, like a dead body, like Chris Watts, I argue, did with Shanann. Look, I'm a girl and I'm old. This is me in 2019, so it's about 18 months ago, and I'm doing dumbbell curls, and I've got 10 kilograms on each arm, or 22 pounds on each arm, and I can dumbbell curl those. So just my biceps, and I don't look strong. I have a history of weight training, of gym work, of martial arts. So anybody who's working out regularly, I mean, I don't work out regularly these days, but Chris did, you know, they could be as heavy as 100 pounds. He could be bench pressing as much as 100 pounds, given those weights, if they were 25 or 20 kilogram weights. But even if there were less, he was kind of that he was
more prepping
he's
to do what he did by working out?
Her theory is just that he was able to do it because he worked out.
I don't think
Because
so.
a lot of people were saying there's no way he would have been able to do it all by himself. There's no way he would have been able to get Shanann down the stairs out into the truck and dug the hole, and which a lot of people think that he did that the day before with the girls, but
likely digging out there in the desert isn't as easy as one might think.
Oh,
This
God,
ground,
no.
the ground out here in this region gets hard as concrete in the summertime. It's
and the
pretty
rake
brutal.
like that he had broke. He didn't even have the proper equipment to do what he did. And I listened back to that, like I said, that second confession, and he said the tools they give us. And at first, when he said that, I was like, what does he mean, us? You know, like, is he saying someone else was with him? But then I played it back again, and he was saying, like, they give in a Darko. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, the tools they give us are a shovel, a rake, and there was one other thing that he had. But he obviously broke the rake, trying to do whatever he was doing, digging the hole. And I believe that Colorado dirt is a lot like it is here in Georgia, like red dirt. It is hard to get in there. It's hard to even dig a hole, really. Now, there's a difference between dead weights and body weight. I believe if Chris brought her down the stairs, I do not believe he was probably gentle about it. I imagine he just possibly even pushed her down the stairs and let her body. I know that sounds terrible, but he was so angry at her that he said he kind of threw her from the truck basically into the hole. So what would make him be careful and gentle down the stairs? Unless the girls were watching, I don't know.
Well, he said he was.
You're not just going to pick that up and carry it. I don't care who you are. I go from experience. When my father was dying of cancer and I had to lift him up every day because he couldn't walk anymore, and he weighed about 100 pounds. He weighed enough where he slipped back away from me, and I pulled back the other way and herniated a disc in my back. So,
gosh,
lifting that dead weight, no pun intended, but when somebody is still alive but can't help you move them is one hell of a lot different than moving weights.
Yeah, and she was pregnant too. You know, she was.
Yeah, she weighed, I think, 150 pounds, they said, and I don't see him doing all that. I just don't. I'll die on that hill. I've never been able to believe that he got her in the truck by himself in that back seat either.
Well, he said he was really mad at her too. So when he just dropped her and face forward in the ground, I can't imagine that all of a sudden he was just mad and he did it then. I think he probably just dropped her down the stairs, and I think he said Bella and Cece were just walking around, freely, which I think Bella was walking around freely crying, and I think Cece was brain damaged, and I think that Bella was aware of everything, and poor Cece luckily was not. And I think Bella saw him do a lot of stuff to her mom that night.
Yeah, because let's be real, you guys. In his second confession, he finally admitted he took their lives 2 times. He smothered them at the house and they woke up. And he was angry. He said that they woke up. And then he said, I don't know why they woke up, but that was another chance from God where I could have saved their lives. I could have changed my decision. I could have stopped right there, but I didn't.
Is there a difference, Cowboy, between lifting weights and lifting a dead body? I mean, not that you would. I mean, is there?
My dad was as close to being dead as you can get, honestly, and I couldn't have bench pressed him. I couldn't have bench pressed him in that state, and I can absolutely bench press many times more than that on a weight bench. There's a hell of a bunch of difference in my experience.
even when a person isn't dead weight, it feels so much heavier. Like if I picked up 40 pounds of weight versus my kid, it just feels different, like
Yeah, and they don't come
the
with handles.
the rigor mortis sets in. So you have
Yeah.
to think it's a lot harder.
I think so.
Oh, wow. Bean Baby 27 says, I had a friend who accidentally OD'd at another friend's house and they panicked, said they were going to try to just dump her in front of the hospital, but couldn't because of dead weight. So not alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I've heard like I've lifted a dead body before.
Really?
Because, I worked, they called it, I don't know why they called it this. It's not, they called it escort, but we were the transport at the hospital when I was a senior in high school. And so, but I never did it alone. And they taught you how to do it because you would grab the sheets, pick it up, pull it over to the stretcher and put it down. So I've never had to do it in the sense where I had to lift it myself from the ground, but I could put a gurney to the bed and loosen up the sheets and just pull, and you can't, I mean, that way you can, but I mean, I can't imagine I wouldn't be able to pull it from the bed down to the floor and out to a car.
Right.
Yeah.
If it were that easy, they wouldn't have stretchers.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome in, Drew K. She says
the worst part was having to carry the babies because they wouldn't let you put the babies on the stretcher. You had to carry.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do that.
And then when you would get into the elevator with them, I would push them way back in the far, and then I'd be like this because they warned you because they'll move. The dead bodies will move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Sweaty
Absolutely.
about it.
I had a good friend here who was our county coroner for quite a while. He finally passed from cancer, but yeah, he used to tell me a bunch about moving dead people. It's a lot harder than most people think. It's not just a weight issue alone.
Yeah. So I don't know if I feel like he could move. Do you guys think that he could have moved it alone? What do you think, Jen?
I guess I'm in the camp that I don't think Nicole was there because even if she signed some type of plea deal, I don't think she could get out of something like this if they had evidence that she was involved.
Right.
I think that Chris was just very careless with her body, to be honest with you. I think he dragged her a lot. The weird thing is, okay, so he backed the truck up, so we don't even see him put her in the truck either.
Right.
But I mean, he had the sheet. I do a lot of this when I move furniture. I will put a piece of furniture on top of the sheet and drag instead of picking up and pulling. You just kind of make the sheet do the work for you. So the hardest part for him was on carpet, which were the steps and everything. But I think there was a lot of wood floor throughout the kitchen, and then in the garage would be a little easier to just kind of drag with the sheet across the concrete. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she was taken out of the basement through that window.
I've heard that. I've heard that she was taken out of the basement before.
Because there wasn't a whole bunch of damage noted to her, even dragging her across a garage floor and partially a driveway on a sheet. You're going to see a lot of abrasions there, I would think. Sheet or not. I mean, you got all that weight on a sheet. The sheet's not going to hold up that well.
Oh, and I wonder if he put her in the garbage bags first, because that would help you on carpet.
That
Well,
would.
I don't know how he didn't get all the bodily fluids everywhere too. I don't know how he managed.
I don't
like,
either.
She would have like given birth. Like I. Like,
yeah, and he said that
there
she
would
relieved
be.
herself.
Yeah.
Where did
That's
it go?
the part that I'm a little confused about how it could have taken place upstairs. Because I know this is gross, but let's be real here, wouldn't the urine get on the carpet coming down, and wouldn't the dogs be kind of hitting on
like everywhere
some of the staircase and everything?
Yeah.
So that is kind of weird. And yeah, it does, now that you say it, RC, it does sound a little more doable if they lure her down into the basement.
And the concrete
or even
floor
if
is a
he
hell of a lot
lured her
easier
down
to clean
into the
up.
basement by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking at the layout of that staircase, when you
the
come
whole
down there, there's a nice little nook in which to hide. You take somebody from behind, there is no struggle. It's a chokehold from behind, and within 5 to 7 seconds, they're unconscious. I was trained in applying one in corrections. It's quite simple, and really, they can't fight back.
Yeah, now
Sorry.
I'm
didn't mean to
kind
do
of
that, but you're
debating
talking right
the whole-
there, right under there. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm kind of debating the whole it happened upstairs thing now.
If they would have been face to face at all, I think there would have been one hell of a fight, and dude would have had a bunch of marks on him. But you get somebody from behind, there's really not much they can do.
I also want to talk about this. I really doubt, you guys, that a pregnant woman traveling would come home and want to have sex at 2:00 in the morning. Like,
probably be the last thing on your mind, I would think.
Right. So I don't know why he would lie about that, but he does claim he did, and he did it to disarm her, get her relaxed, get her to trust him. But let's be real. If you saw a charge on the credit card, that's probably the first thing I would bring up the minute I walk in the door.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be like, let's get into bed together. I'd be like, hey, let's talk about this charge from the lazy dog.
I never tried to use that to set the mood, nor do I think I will.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess she was trying to reconcile with him, and so was she willing to do anything to keep him? Was she willing, like, was he showing her affection? Was she like, oh yeah, maybe we're gonna, be together again? Just playing devil's advocate.
Do you think they had sex, Amy? Or do you think
I
he
don't
made
think
it?
they did. I don't think they did.
No,
I don't either.
I don't
just
there's any possible way that they did, and I don't think when he unalived her that he was on her stomach either, because I don't think a pregnant lady would let a man sit up there like that on top of her.
No, I don't.
Even when you're getting
either.
like a back rub when you're pregnant, you don't. Yeah, it's just you don't. And like traveling, not being pregnant, is exhausting. Traveling pregnant and you're distressed because your marriage is falling apart. I just don't buy it. I think it's BS that
No, you're broke. Your marriage is in the toilet. You're broke. And then you had this trip that turned out to be a real cluster on the last day with this big delay, and you had to check out of your hotel, and you had to sit around in other places. And I would
you're right. Her flight was delayed. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a rough day. I would just want to get the hell home myself.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody just wanting to engage in that. I think Dipstick came up with that theory to try to explain any DNA transfer in his mind. He probably watched too many cop shows.
Yeah. Or wanted to make it sound like things weren't that bad. I don't know, like to soften the blow or something like
that too. Says, oh, we were getting along great. This is what happened. So I couldn't have possibly
done it. And then after
sex,
she said something and it set me off, like,
oh yeah,
because that's what he claimed. He claims they had sex. Then they fell asleep and then they woke back up and he was like, I don't love you anymore. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. I believe she got home and he got right to work at doing whatever he did.
Yeah, I do too. I think the mysterious phone call that he and NK had was a catalyst, and there he knew his timeline was ticking where he had to do something to keep the one he was infatuated with instead of the one he was married to.
Yeah. So looking at the Thrive patches, I wanted to take a look at over on Reddit. They're talking about what they call the Thrive defense, that the Thrive made them do it, which I think the Thrive had a definite role in it. The ingredients in the Thrive, for me, if I had slapped a bunch of those patches on, would make me very aggressive, because the product in Thrive, it makes me aggressive. And looking at the ingredients, there's green coffee bean extract, there's that Garcinia,
Garcinia cambogia.
That's the stuff that makes me really aggressive. The CoQ10, which is great product, white willow bark, I don't know what that is.
That's actually a natural substitute for aspirin.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
It is. Mm-hmm.
And then there's cosmofrine. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
And
the last one is an amino acid.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had to take that too.
And then there's some inactive ingredients there. And he was doing the duo, which was already 2 patches, but he was slapping 4 patches on, right?
Jesus.
Basically.
Yeah. And I bet he was taking more of all of this stuff than he was supposed to.
Well, yeah,
he was doing too. And he was doing their capsules too. I tried their 3-step system for about a half of one day, and I felt so terrible. I couldn't get that crap out of my system fast enough.
Wow.
I've been into bodybuilding since 1990, and I've tried almost everything legal. I never tried the illegal junk, but that they have come up with, and that was the most devastating crap on my system I've ever tried. I felt absolutely horrible for about 6 hours.
Wow.
How long did it take to start working to make you like that you're like, oh, this is something happening?
It was about 2 hours, I guess. I took it and I went to work that day. I was working as a cable technician. And to have your heart race and to feel that dizzy and off balance probably isn't a good thing when you're climbing 30-foot ladders. And
no.
I just felt like I could stroke out at any minute, and my stomach hurt and everything. It was horrible. I was frightened by it, and I've tried a lot of the pre-workout stuff and taken it and fat burners and all that junk over the years, and that stuff actually scared me. It was awful.
It reminds me of this medicine. It's not even medicine. It was like something from a gas station I tried one time. It was an energy pill called a Yellow Jacket. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Yes, I can't believe you did that.
When I was young and working at McDonald's in college, we used to take it to try to get through the double shifts.
I could never. I tried it once.
I literally, like you described, I thought I was dying. I thought I needed to go to the ER. So, like, I imagine Thrive being similar to that, where if you're not a big coffee drinker, that you're gonna...
Yeah, you're going to get so high on that stuff. No wonder he never slept. I could totally see it.
Well, here's a thing where Shanann Watts posted to social media. Chris just said he's been more talkative since he started Burn, talking to random strangers.
Probably seeing random strangers.
Interesting.
Probably meeting them in cars. On May 7th, Shanann shared a photo of Chris mowing the lawn. Someone's thriving up for work at 4 a.m. and just got home and now mowing the grass. Like, boss, he loves me, she wrote. A month later, she posted a screenshot of a text with her husband who had just started a weight loss patch. Chris sent her a photo of himself smiling with the sticker in his arm. He says, I cannot stay still. I vacuumed the kitchen entire ways and mopped them, vacuumed downstairs, and now moving upstairs, Chris wrote, adding a shrug emoji. Chris Watts' former high school teacher said, Joe Duty, a retired automotive teacher in North Carolina, told the Fayette Observer that Chris was a standout student who received a $1,000 scholarship for the NASCAR Technical Institute in Mosherville. In fact, I told him before he graduated, I said, Chris, if I ever had a student who is going to be tremendously successful, it's you. This was one of the smartest students I ever had, Duty said. The guy was had a photographic memory. Chris had a passion for NASCAR and knew chapter and verse everything you could ask about NASCAR, anything, Duty added. Yet Chris was introverted and hardly spoke in class. Often I wondered why he was so withdrawn. He was very clean cut, very respectful, very smart, Duty said. Lance Alfonso, who played recreational football with Chris when they were growing up in North Carolina, said the accused murderer was someone who wouldn't hurt a fly. Chris Watts' defense will be scouring the same social media available to all, and it's all out there regarding his prior demeanor. So it looks like there is some evidence that he was slightly different before he tried the Thrive.
Before he was jacked up on speed, yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. I can't sit still. Well, yeah, because you're all geeked out on speed, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well,
It's
think
like-
about when you have a glass, like a drink, right? You have a beer or a glass of wine, you kind of get loopy, you get loose, you start talking to people. It kind of sounds similar that Thriving was the same. Six
Alicia.
Red Bulls at once.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Helps. Yep.
Try.
That's how I felt on the Yellow Jacket. So I would, because
Yeah.
someone did offer me Thrive, and I'm like, no, thank you. Nope.
No. No, hell no. That stuff. Yeah, I tried it once and I threw the rest of the samples my buddy from Las Vegas sent me. I'm like, I threw the rest of them away. Hell no.
Does Kaiser sponsor? Beam says, hey, where you guys live? Kaiser was in California, because I had to go when I was in California. I had a really bad migraine, and I remember going to Kaiser Permanente. They sponsor Thrive too. I wonder if it's the same Thrive.
Good grief. Hope not.
Hope not.
Yeah, we
I'm probably
have it
trying to
here,
get
Kaiser.
cardiac patients. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I also wanted to
I'm
show
surprised
you.
the Watts.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was
Okay.
going to say, I'm surprised the Watts haven't tried to sue Thrive.
Me too.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the
I
root
do
checks.
think they would
I think
have
the root checks said they were still on it.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, I mean, they take it. So
are they still
I do
taking
have
it? Even though NA is no longer on it, they're still on it.
correct.
Do we know?
Yeah,
that?
they're still doing it.
Yeah.
I have a theory. This is just my own personal theory. I have a feeling that Thrive has probably paid out the Rusick family in some way to not speak poorly about Thrive and everything it entails. That's just my opinion.
I think so too.
Because
yeah.
Probably.
I feel Thrive destroyed Shanann's life. Just the whole
Oh, wow.
brainwashing of the MLL or the MLM.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
We're
not
not
just
gonna
the
have-
medicine.
If you think you can
Yeah,
get
no,
rich
not
quick,
just the
it's-
patches. I just think, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, if you usually with that stuff, if you think you can get rich quick, you're mistaken. It's just I've never personally known anyone who was successful doing any of those.
I guess Nicole Atkinson is the person I know that's the most successful, and she's not even doing it. So can't be that successful if you would stop doing
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, she moved on to something else. Yeah, I've known people
Yeah.
who've done them, and I never saw anybody suddenly be able to retire at 30 years old or whatever and live comfortably. I've never seen it. I guess it must happen somewhere along those lines for somebody, but by and large, I think they said 99.7% of people who do that yearly lose money.
Yes.
Yeah, you're better off just
Yeah, I'm
getting
kind
a
of bummed
job.
Kelly didn't.
Yeah, I'm really bummed
Right.
that she's here. But
Because she was selling Thrive for a while. So she knows
Yeah.
all the tactics that they would use.
Yep. She
yeah, we're
does.
not even going to be able to get into all of that because it's MLM. I feel like that's a whole topic in itself going into, because she was into a lot of MLMs actually.
Yeah, I think Kelly had counted up 8 or 9 and maybe more. Last thing I had heard from
Damn.
her. That is a ton. And
She
you're
should have
never
just
gonna
stuck to the nursing.
or selling cars. I was in that business for 10 years. You can do
Yeah.
well.
You can do
can
really
just
well.
fine. And they even offer insurance and stuff. A lot more than you're going to get with an MLM. You have a company, you're basically using their inventory to make your living. It's not a terrible gig.
And she's good
Yeah,
at it. She's good at sales.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't talk more about that as her as a salesperson on the floor, because she worked at the Ford dealership with Chris, and I was listening back to something, and apparently she's the one who set up the job for Chris with Anna Darko, which is kind of weird, but obviously she pushed him into it because his passion was for cars, right? Let's be real. He liked being a mechanic. She convinced him that he had carpal tunnel, so he needed to get out of that business. But I would think she would stay into it, and I could see her like managing a dealership at some point. I'm surprised she got out of it.
Yeah, she seemed to have some decent interpersonal skills anyway, and I saw a lot of ladies go through the business in my time there, and a lot of them didn't know anything about cars, and I'm sure she knew something about them even by accident working at a tire and wheel shop for so long. She had to have learned enough.
Right. And just being around Chris. But there's this theory she wanted to be that stay-at-home mom who just went shopping and, had fun and didn't have any commitments. And I imagine in Colorado, I know it's very expensive to live there.
It is.
I imagine it to be very keeping up with the Joneses type of lifestyle, even though it's more hiking and outdoorsy. There's still that persona of, look what I have, and look what I can afford. Look at my house, my car, all of this kind of thing.
Even further north where I live here, these people, there's one really large employer in this town who is especially known for it. If one guy on the block who works there gets a boat, then pretty soon 3 or 4 other dudes in about 2 weeks are all going to have a boat. They all want to keep up with each other.
Yeah.
Well, it was also during a time where social media was really coming into its own, and MLMs were just new to the whole social media, and they were capitalizing off of that. Because I remember right around that time, well, I had just gotten I wasn't doing MLMs, but I was oversharing on my socials at one point. And when I was first doing it, I was oversharing. And then I was like, wow, I should do this. And it was right. Like, I believe that if Shanann had been allowed to live, that she would have realized she was oversharing, but because she was taken away from us right at that time where it was reaching its peak. I feel oversharing, and so I don't know.
I think
I feel she would have done really well on TikTok. If she were to be able to sell on TikTok and things like that. But I think on Facebook, that's where you have to use your real friends to sell, and people get annoyed. I mean, no one wants to be pitched to. There's nothing that pisses me off more then when I check my messages and it's someone I haven't talked to in 20 years, then they're like, hey, how are you? And I just want to be like, what are you selling?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. What program are you in now? Because you just know it's coming. Always. I spent years as an internet sales manager for car dealerships, and right when Facebook was getting established for that, I'm talking like 2007, 2008 onward, and I didn't use my personal page even to promote a whole bunch of our dealership specials because my friends would get pissed off. You just have to know where the limit is.
And on TikTok, you can sell to strangers and it's more accepted. So it's really a shame that she didn't get to live in this TikTok era. I think that would have been her jam for sure.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
She was basically doing that on Facebook, the whole, like what they do over on TikTok.
Yeah, she was ahead of her time, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So this was something that I found from Rose just popping back over to, did Chris know the NK before? I wanted to show this and I didn't get it up. This is proof where NK met Chris. So here is a Denver Broncos post where it has NK on it. She's doing a 45-day fitness challenge. And it says, we've teamed up with Children's Hospital, Colorado, which we know Shanann worked there. King Super, UCI Health, and 24-Hour Fitness to give Bronco County extra incentive to pay attention to their health and wellness.
Hi, friends. Check this out. So not only is NK the poster child for the Denver Broncos, but if you look closely, this is a venture between the Children's Hospital, UC Health, King Supers, and 24-Hour Fitness, where Chris went as he was trying to lose weight when the Rucheks lived with them. And because the Rucheks were downstairs where all of his workout equipment was, he joined the gym. What do you guys think about this? Subscribe for more.
What do you guys think?
I don't really buy the theory that, I know a lot of people say that they were talking earlier. I think more of that evidence would have came out. Then there's the theory that Nicole was actually stalking the family beforehand. I mean, maybe they knew of each other, but I think we would have seen more people coming out like
John,
at the gym.
It's in Discovery. Someone did come out in the gym. Someone did come out in the gym, and it was in Discovery.
What did they say?
They said that NK liked to go to, do you remember this, Cowboy? I can't find this video. I've looked, if anybody, and other people have said that they heard the same thing, but this woman she had just had dental surgery. So I remember that because she did I heard a lot of that. And she said that NK liked to go to the gym and hit on the married men. She was really into, like, if she knew they were single, she wanted nothing to do with them. But if they were married, she was all for it. Yeah.
I remember that. Absolutely.
Do you guys think she stalked them before?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
She was doing Google searches of Shanann a year before she was supposed to have even met Chris.
I like this comment by Ron. Imagine if NK and Shanann crossed paths at the grocery store, at the gym, and it's just like you never would know what impact that person would make. You know, that stranger that you bump into or something. It's crazy to really think about that. It sounds like it was a smaller town too.
Yeah. That's what NA said, or Nicole Atkinson said. She said it was a big town, but a small town too, because it was dispersed, or was it congregated? One of the two. It was either spread out or they were all put together in one small area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the little bedroom communities that have sprung up in the Front Range of Colorado there.
I forgot. There was one other thing that I was going to say, and now I've totally forgotten.
Feel better. Someone's got a nosebleed. They gotta go.
Oh my.
Well, that is all I had. I was really hoping that Kelly would be here because I was kind of counting on her research that she had done. Do you think that when some people have said that they were actually going, when they were coming in and out of the house, they were using the basement, they had taken the window out and they were actually using that as a door? Do you think that that's possibly where they, if they took Shanann in and out of the house, they were like, hey, this is like, we've been doing it for this long, so maybe this is a good idea? Do you think that's where they got it? Have you heard, Cowboy, that they were using the side window as a door?
I've heard that, yeah, and that was one of the first things that Chris himself brought up, is how there were no cameras back there. And no homes back there, because that was a construction site at the time.
Yeah, we watched that video where it was really easy, literally, to pull up into their backyard, and all that there was is a fence that wasn't even a fence. It was really just a piece of wood.
Yeah,
on stilts.
Yeah, it wasn't much. I wouldn't doubt that they were doing that at all. You're probably going to have more cover of darkness back there. If you have homes just being built, you probably don't have a whole bunch of street lights back there. You don't have homes, and there are no cameras back there, and no alarm.
Was there anything about the basement you wanted to talk about, Jen?
No, I think just sometimes I think if Kessinger had anything to do with it, it would have been planned a little better, to where they probably could have gotten away with it. Sometimes I just think this was all impulsively done by Chris, because she was like, I need you to do something. And she meant like, move out and move in with me, or like do something, like make action. And I feel if she really were involved, that we wouldn't even be talking about this, because they possibly would have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
Was she involved maybe in the cleaning up? Maybe. But I think the planning of it would have gone a lot smoother. I'd like to say she doesn't seem like a dumb person. Chris does seem kind of dumb. like
yeah,
he didn't plan any of this. And if she were involved, I think it would have been more planned as like to look like an accident or something, to make sure that there was an insurance payout. She seems a little more aware of her than Chris.
She seems a little more worldly. She's traveled to other places and stuff a heck of a lot more than Chris ever had. Been around a lot more different work locations, everything. I think he was cornered. He had to decide what he was going to do. He got busted for using the credit card at the restaurant, so he knew the lid was going to come off his affair on that side. And on the other side, the mistress wanted him to do something to commit. I think she wanted him to go get his own apartment, and he knew he couldn't do that anyway because he didn't have any money. And he lashed out and thought he was taking care of the situation by unaliving his family.
Yeah, I was watching something the other day, and they were talking about how, like, when a narcissist is done with something, they literally discard it. And he did exactly that in a literal sense, discarded Shanann and the girls because they were no longer useful to him. And that's terrible to think that he was able to disconnect in the brain from his family.
Yeah, that was the obstacle keeping him from what he wanted or who he wanted, and he threw it out. You're right.
Do you guys think he intentionally used the credit card so that Shanann would see it, or because I feel like if Kessinger knew, she would kind of help keep this a secret and be like, let's use my credit card.
Right. I do too. I think he was out of options to pay for anything, and I think he had checked out emotionally on the marriage a long time ago, didn't know how to get out of it like a normal human being, and he had to keep up his front on paying for stuff, and he did it.
What do you think, Amy? You think he intentionally did it, or just?
I think that he had to pay for it. He was too big of a wuss to say, hey, I can't, I don't have, so he pulled out the joint credit card, and I think he thought he was going to be a big boy about it and finally tell her, and maybe this would be the way to do it. And I think it just all went sideways for him. He panicked.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think Shanann got in his face and was like,
and he was like, cornered. He knew that time was up. The time had ticked down on his little charade he was playing, trying to lead a double life, and he knew it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm sure that Shanann sat on that flight just going over and over in her head, what am I going to say to him? How am I going to bring it up? You know, like, you know how when you amp yourself up for something, like how you're going to say something to someone?
Yeah. I'm sure she rehearsed that the whole flight. Absolutely.
Yeah, she probably did it with her friends too.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it at all.
I know I would have. I would have been going over it. My girls and I, we would have been talking.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be going over that every point I was gonna make when I got home. I'd be going over it in my head and getting ready.
Yep. The ride there in the car, in the back seat. If I was sitting back there, I'd be up there. Yeah. And another thing, I'm gonna say this.
Yep.
Yep. I have a feeling, she walked in the door and like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I wouldn't be able to hold that in. I would be like, wake your ass up if you were asleep and be like, we're going to talk about this right now.
Yeah. I don't think I would let somebody peacefully enjoy their dreams while I had that going through my head. We were going to talk about it, I'm sure.
Right. Or like, you would think he would wait up for her to make sure she's okay. I don't know.
Yeah. You would think so.
You don't think he panicked, Kelly? I just don't think that I don't think, well, maybe Chris thought he was that smart because he did make that comment how he tricked his teacher into believing he went to China or wherever. So maybe he did think he was that smart that he could trick the police, but I just can't believe that he would think that he's that smart. He has to know that he's socially inept. He has to know that. Because like, I know that about me. Like when I get into social situations, I can be like really weird. And so I know that about me. I know that like I am relatively smart, but when I get into social situations, I get weird. So he has to know that about himself. He must know that.
You would think so.
That are weird know that about themselves.
You would know what your strength is, and they had said when they would have gatherings and such at the house, oftentimes he was over there with the children keeping them company because he just couldn't fit into the group of the adults.
Yeah, he didn't know how to adult.
It's so funny because, sometimes I do that. I'm going out with the kids because it's so much easier. It's just like you just play and hang out. You don't have to deal with it. When I need to chill out, that's what I do.
Yeah, adults are hard.
I totally think he thought he was going to pass that polygraph because what kind of dumbass would go take a polygraph?
Yeah, exactly. That's not admissible in court anyway.
And not ask for a lawyer.
Yeah, that's the first thing you do is ask for a lawyer. Whether or not you did it, if you're accused of something that could be that serious, you better get an attorney and shut your face.
Yeah, I think he played off this persona of what
for
people
sure
thought.
didn't believe that he did it because they would have asked for a lawyer. I'm sure they would have asked for a lawyer if they thought that he was involved in any way.
Yeah, I would think so. His dad started to mention it, and then the agents came back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first thing he should have done. But he just didn't seem to have any sense at all with that. It was like he was stunted about the age of 15 with some of that stuff.
Even innocent people ask for lawyers. Exactly. It's the first
Exactly.
thing I would ask.
I know an
Because you're
attorney. I know an attorney really well, and we watch crime shows together. And the first thing she tells me, she hates it when cops bring that up, that they figured somebody was guilty because they asked for a lawyer. She said, well, anybody with any brains would ask for a lawyer. If you're accused of unaliving somebody or kidnapping them, yeah, you'd better ask for an attorney. That's some serious stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's your constitutional right, so why would you not, you know?
Especially when, we see cases where people are pressured into giving a confession because it doesn't look good, that investigators cannot apprehend the correct criminal for the crime. And they're being pushed to make an arrest and file charges on someone, and it happens, unfortunately, to people.
Yeah, people sit in a box for 12 or 16 hours, and especially a lot of younger people, I've seen that, and they just want out. So they're going to try to tell them what they think they want to hear because they want to get out of that little room.
Yeah.
He was a moron. I can't stand him. I really don't like Chris Watts at all.
No.
I could find redeeming qualities in most people, but I struggle with him.
No,
yeah,
I just
I
see
don't get
like
that
an
guy.
empty shell, like just a vessel, and nothing's going on up there except photographic memory. No emotions, nothing.
Exactly. That guy's so blank. I remember watching that on our local news at his sermon on the porch that afternoon. I was watching it with my family, and my dad was there, and we looked at each other and we're like, you watch, he did it. Just right
really?
away.
That was your very first thought. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just like, nah, he bull crap, man. He's guilty of something here. It just doesn't happen. And his whole affect and stuff, not a tear shed in a press conference.
Not a tear.
Like, oh, I missed them. He said what he thought people wanted to hear, where, I just hope they're back safe and stuff, but there's no emotion behind that. They were just hollow words to put up a front of what the, good boy Chris trying to say what he thinks people want to hear. It was not genuine at all, and I knew. I'm like, there's no way he did it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if he searched interviews, but somehow it wasn't found on his phone or something. Like maybe he used an app that kind of erased history. But I wonder if he tried to watch how other people react when their family's missing and tried to mimic that.
Probably did. If he had to Google when to say I love you or how do you know what love is or whatever. I mean, yeah, I probably did.
Married.
Yeah.
And you're married and you've got to Google that shit.
Press conferences for dummies or something. He must have.
Pressers for dummies, yeah.
Because he had no clue on that. I mean,
throwing chicken nuggets at me.
No emotion at all, man. If I lost my car keys for 10 minutes, I'd have emotion, and his whole family's missing. And he doesn't show any emotion. Nah.
I think the dumbest line in that, I like that you called it a sermon, RC, because it is kind of like a sermon. He goes, if they're not safe, this just gotta stop. It's like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Exactly. It was just the dumbest comment of the whole entire interview to me.
Yeah, so if they're safe and you're just holding them, then it's okay.
Right? Yeah. It's cool.
It's cool. Yeah, hold them in a box and just pet them on the head once in a while, and I don't care. I mean, yeah, that was a dumbass statement.
I mean, the whole sermon was dumb, but that to me was the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
When
they're
I saw
somewhere and they're not safe, you have
I
to
was like,
assume
oh,
they're probably
shit.
not safe if somebody else has them. Dumbass.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to rewatch that porch interview one day and just like pause it every. I know we've already done that with
Yeah.
Indigo, but like it just never. Well, he did so many different interviews with different news outlets that it is interesting to see how kind of he changes it up with each person too.
Oh yes, yeah. He is a chameleon as much as he can be. He will definitely try to fit whatever vibe somebody else is putting off.
And that reporter did an excellent job getting him comfortable, because anyone's going to be obviously uncomfortable when they're doing a TV interview and they're not used to it. She's like, "Oh, where did you get that shirt?" You know, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is one of my favorite shirts." You know, like he's starting to feel
That I wore
loose.
should have bought
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, and that was like a good tactic on the reporter to try to get Chris to just like chill out a little bit, because she could tell he was on edge, and she, you know, wanted probably to see some raw emotion that she was not going to get because there was no emotion there.
Right. Yeah, there was nothing there. It was just blank
I agree,
words.
Jerry. I do
Do you
think
think
there could have
he
been a
was
possibility.
keeping it in the back of his mind that he would eventually kill them if something better came along? Yeah, I do. I think that
do.
was one of the options.
He reached a point at some place in time where he'd had it with this situation, and as soon as a perceived avenue out of there came available, I think he wanted to act on that.
I think it was when the girls were starting not to listen to him, and he was saying in North Carolina they were being snarky and rude to him,
Yeah,
talking to him like Shanann did. I think that's when he decided the girls had to go too.
I do
I think
too.
he was
Because
just working on Shanann at the time.
I think at that point in time
Sometimes
he felt like he had no allies at home, and then he was distanced from his family, and yeah, I think you're right.
I feel though that like Kessinger was kind of excited to be a part of the family though. Like she was planning gardening with the girls. She was like seeing cereal with unicorns and texting pictures to Chris. Like I feel like she would have kind of been empowered by that position and almost enjoyed competing with Shanann as like the cool stepmom.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder if maybe because one of the kids walked in and Chris was like, I have to do this now because what if they say something one day? When really maybe the initial plan was just Shanann, and that, you know, Nikki, the friendly coworker, you know, came to check on us while we were grieving for mom, you know, and we fell in love. Like sometimes I wonder if that was all a part of the plan, is to keep the kids in the picture.
I don't think so. Because I think he did try to unalive the girls before Shanann got there, and I think they did wake back up. I do believe that, because I do. Yeah. Bella had the raccoon eyes. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he did too. I think he sedated him a bunch with the medications at night, and then tried to take him out completely, and didn't know what he was doing, obviously, and didn't get it done. And then I think that at least one of them saw something that was going to incriminate him, and he had to take out the witnesses.
John brings up a good point about, let's say Kessinger was game to be stepmom. She then found out about Nico, right? That wasn't part of the game plan.
Exactly.
So that could have pissed her off too. Where she was like, yeah, I'll be a stepmom to your two kids. But then she finds out.
But no more with her.
Yeah, like, whoa, there's a new baby? You guys aren't. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, Don. That's a good point you bring up.
It's a lot.
She might have accepted that.
I will say this, the last person that I dated, which was a while ago, but while in the middle of dating, the last person that he dated told him she was pregnant. Now, they had been broken up, but that's a lot, you guys. That's a lot. And he already had 2 kids. So that meant he was
Yeah.
going to have 3. And so I can kind of understand. I mean, when you don't have any kids and then,
Right.
yeah, that's a lot to deal with. So I can actually understand NK being like, whoa. But,
Yeah.
and
Or
also
pissed, too.
I have a
like,
hard time believe the see it takes me back to that she didn't do it, because I just don't see her unaliving the girls because of what she was super excited about
Yeah,
being
man,
the
she was like,
stepmother and the bunk beds and all that crap. So
I do,
Yeah,
and I think she really would have enjoyed competing with Shanann. I do. I think she
the
would have
epic
taken
fight,
pleasure
the epic
out of
fight.
it.
Yeah,
Epic.
definitely.
She would have been cool stepmom, and she would have gotten joy out of it. I really do. And then
Right.
I
The
think,
cool, fit, fun stepmom, and she would have tried to put Shanann down at every turn. I can totally see that.
Oh, it
Yeah.
would have been pure hell. But Shanann would have been a foe to be feared,
Oh
I would
my,
think.
yeah,
Yes.
wow, yeah, definitely.
yes, there would have been some throwdowns.
Who do you think
But
would
I
win?
think a new baby really kind of killed that, where she was like, I don't know. I hate to think, I was thinking about it today while I was painting. If she had no idea, it is just unfortunate how this has really destroyed her life.
Yeah.
And I really hope that one day she does come out and do a damn interview with Dr. Phil or something in a safe place where she feels comfortable, and just spill the damn tea. Spill it all.
Right.
Take a lie detector test for us. Just, it would calm the waters so much with this case. And I feel like, I know Chris wants us still talking about it, because like we were
for
all
sure.
saying, it helps him behind bars, but how does she benefit from it? I don't think she does.
This was a good one. Joe Kimberly says, I agree that NK might have enjoyed playing the stepmother role, but I think she was also extremely worried about money. She kept asking him about his money. I think that's why he unalived them all. I think money was huge.
Yeah.
I did too. I think that was,
And she had good credit
big
too.
part of
So
it.
that's why she wanted to know where's your credit? And she said that in the interview. I want to know what I'm getting into, because I have great credit and I don't want you screwing mine up.
Yeah.
I do think the FBI would be letting her walk the streets. I do. But I don't know if I believe she had anything to do with it.
Yeah, and I think, Nicole was going to realize that he was so broke he couldn't even rent a damn apartment. And that was going to be the end of another end of that facade he was putting up.
Well, he couldn't even afford the damn lazy dog.
Exactly. Yeah, he couldn't afford to rent a cardboard box on Main Street for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And she was going to see that, and I think he was afraid, and a lot of fear there too, going, oh man, she's going to realize I'm a financial loser and cut me loose.
For sure.
But I think NK was really into like the competition. Because if she was going after married men, she was in it. So I think she was in the middle of the competition. And once she won him, she was going to be like, oh no.
Yeah, she had that.
It may be.
She had that athletic mindset, which is about competition, I think.
Well, look, we just saw her climbing the whole lawyer thing at the thing Amy pulled up. It's like, after she. Well, maybe at one point too, she would have been like, this is just too much damn drama for me. I'm going to walk away from it. But also she was looking at wedding dresses too. So I don't know. She was in it. And she even texted her friend, the kids are a package deal. So she knew.
Yeah, she knew what the deal was going into that. And she was all about it. A lot more than she put onto the investigator. She tried to act like she did think it was anything serious, but
she tried to downplay it for sure.
Her search results say otherwise. Yeah, she was in it.
Lisa's asking why to do a polygraph. The reason I would suggest it, if I were in Nicole's situation and the whole country thought I had something to do with it, I would just do it to do it. That's just me. I'd be like, if I don't have anything to hide, I'll do it.
Yeah, do it. Talk about it. Give an interview somewhere to try to cleanse yourself personally, at least, and get some of your normal life back.
Yeah.
And without that, she never will.
Somebody posted, where did I see it? On one of my things recently, that Nicole lives on her street. But it looked like they lived in Tennessee.
Wow.
Does anyone know anything about that?
I think the other Nicole moved to Tennessee.
Oh, that's probably who
that's the one who moved to Tennessee was NA.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because I get these two mixed up when I just quickly look at the initials. Sometimes I even say them wrong.
Mm-hmm. I think NK is still out here. NK is still out here in the Mountain West somewhere, I'm sure. She was just in Billings earlier this year for that funeral.
You think Chris was expecting the fact?
I would take 73% over 0% of people believing me any day. That's just me.
It's better than what you have now.
We don't have to agree on that, but that's just me. I would not keep quiet about it. I would clear my name.
Exactly. Yeah, I would. If I hadn't done something, I would be out there screaming it from the top of the hills. I mean, like we just saw with Karen Reed in her trial, if she really didn't do it, and people were talking about that, she sure was vocal about this and that. Well, if you don't do something, then you might as well speak up and defend yourself.
Yeah.
She got found not guilty today. I don't know if she was guilty or not, but a jury didn't think she was.
I mean, has she been asked to take a lie detector test?
I don't think so.
God, I don't know. I mean, I could see Dr. Phil doing something like that because he does stuff like that. And it's really the only scientific way. And although it's, not 100% accurate, it still has some accuracy to it. I mean, look, are we going to lie and say that Chris was telling the truth and he didn't bomb the polygraph? Yeah, he bombed the damn polygraph. I don't believe she's ever been asked to take one, but that's just me saying if I was in Nicole's situation, I would take one to clear my name.
Yeah, I would.
Looks like LK says nobody asked her, but Tammy Lee would.
Yeah, Tammy would.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was so strange how she was asking him about his finances and they'd only been together a few weeks. I think she would have been way more controlling than Shanann ever was. She was really up on it. She knew everything. She even knew the expiration dates of the condoms. So,
because I think she'd been around enough probably to get taken advantage of by other men too. Maybe she'd been with some other guys who were bums or something. If we knew the whole backstory.
True. Yeah, I think she was in like a really bad relationship before this, and she explained to Chris she was even having her mail sent to her dad's house because she was like hiding out from this guy, whoever, we never really got the full backstory on it, but it was a sketchy, bad relationship.
Some guy named Sean. Reference.
But I feel like Nicole and Chris, and I hate to say this, I feel like they had this soulmate type connection, this deep connection where they were able to fast forward to where most people are at like 5 years of dating in 5 weeks.
And I mean, he said he could be himself. Maybe that was it. Yeah.
She's in her 30s.
People always say that sometimes you know when you know. I mean, I knew a couple who got married after 3 months of dating, and they were married for 59 years. So it can happen.
Yeah, Lisa. We're all Googling on the first date. I mean, of course we are. We're doing like kind of a search. We're looking at social media.
Well, that's why I don't believe she wasn't watching Shanann, because that's the first thing you do is you find, if you hear the the other person's name, you're gonna look for it. You're
Oh,
gonna
hell
go
Oh
on
yeah.
yeah, you are.
socials,
I'm gonna be up there on Been Verified like a detective, looking at everything I can find.
white pages,
Yeah,
looking at stuff. Yeah,
my
I
wife
wonder
did a
if
background
Chris-
check on me in a week.
we all do it.
Yeah,
So I
Yeah,
don't believe.
I'm surprised, yeah, the ex of hasn't come out. A lot of people don't like to talk about her. I mean, there's a little bit on Reddit, but not much. And it's because
yeah. There's
people
not a
are
lot.
kind of afraid of her.
Yeah,
She
She
must
had
be
some-
diabolical because she doesn't have anyone coming out talking about her too much. So
Well, we
no, she
know
had
what
some
she
pretty
did when
good
she was
connections.
younger, remember?
Yeah. She had some pretty good connections too. If you look at people affiliated with this recovery center and stuff, she was involved in MMA fighters and some like street thug people and everything. I've looked into a little bit of it, what I could find here and there, and some of that does add up. That maybe people are afraid of that.
Yeah.
uh,
And maybe that's
One
why
of
she
the-
feels she doesn't have to speak out. Maybe she's like, screw all of you. I don't care what you think because I've got this to back me up. But
Yeah, I mean, she had talked about having a safe house to go to right away. I mean, what
she
kind of
did
life
work
you
at
been?
Worlds.
Yeah, what kind of life have you been leading where you're all about safe houses and stuff? I guess I'm naive, but that ain't nothing I ever had.
Me
yeah, I
either.
want to hear from the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, that would be an interesting convo, definitely. And like you said,
See,
Amy, and oh yeah, she had worked in the oil fields, and they can be some rough places.
That's what I was thinking. It's got to be a rough
Absolutely.
field.
It
So
is. I've known a lot of guys who worked in it. I had an uncle who started an oil field engine service company back in the 70s, and I mean, yeah, when they were running their company, they had a hell of a time finding employees who could pass a background or and a drug screen. And there's a lot of stuff out in the oil fields. It can be sketchy.
and she worked out on the rigs too, even didn't she?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
She said
Yeah.
she
So-
loved being back in an office.
Yeah.
I'll bet. Yeah, those man cams can be pretty tough, from what everybody tells me. So yeah, she'd probably run around a bunch of rough characters at times in her previous employment too.
Yeah. Chris was probably tame.
Yeah, he'd be
Yes.
like a baby kitten compared to some of those dudes. They don't mess around.
Yes. Which makes you kind of wonder why she was even attracted to him, except for the fact of it was a challenge because he was married. Can I pull him away from everything? And like
Yeah.
you said, Amy, once she got him, would she be like, next?
Yeah,
Oh.
well, mission accomplished. I must go now. Maybe
Yeah,
that was
I
it.
did it. I knew I could do it.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
might have
maybe
been
he
it.
has the shoddy past. Okay, guys. Well, that's all I have for tonight. Did you guys have anything else?
No,
No, I don't
Um,
have anything else at the moment.
Kelly didn't make it, but I really enjoyed doing this with you